Welcome, and thank you for stepping into this important leadership role. I'm Neil McDermott, and I'm pleased to present this session on behalf of myself and Dr. Balekis. Today, we're going to be diving into the worlds of professional learning communities, or PLCs. These are more than just meetings or structures. These are supposed to be dynamic, collaborative spaces where educators come together to improve student learning. As the facilitators, you are the heartbeat of these communities. You set the tone, you'll help guide the process, and you'll inspire your colleagues. And throughout this presentation, we'll explore how PLCs work, why they matter, and how you can lead with confidence and clarity. So let's get started. So here's what we hope to accomplish together today. We're going to introduce the foundational concepts of PLCs, what they are, why they matter, and how they support continuous improvement. Reflect on best practices, assess what makes a PLC truly effective, explore leadership behaviors that foster collaboration and trust, learn strategies to sustain PLCs over time, and even discuss how we deal with challenges when they arise. We'll discuss how to measure success, because what gets measured gets improved. Plan actionable steps for growth and improvement in your teams. So let's take a minute to explore the three foundational pillars of a successful PLC. Pillar number one is a focus on learning. At the heart of every PLC is a commitment to student learning. It's not about teaching or covering content. It's about ensuring that every student learns. The second pillar is forming a collaborative culture. Now, collaboration means a little bit more than just sharing resources with one another. It's about building trust and challenging each other to grow and working towards shared goals. And the third pillar is a focus on results. We must ask ourselves, are our efforts making a difference? And are students learning more because of our collaboration? Three pillars are very important. And Richard DeFore, who's a researcher in this space, says the very essence of a PLC is a focus on and a commitment to the learning of each student. Good thing to keep in mind. So let's take a look at four critical questions that form the backbone of effective professional learning communities. First of all, what do we want our students to learn? This question guides curriculum, sets clear, consistent expectations across the board. Next, how will we know that they have learned it? This is where assessment comes into play. It's essential to have reliable measures in place to track student progress, something that your collaborative group can generate together. Next, how to respond when some students do not learn. This question is about intervention, ensuring that no student gets left behind. And finally, how do we extend learning for students who are already proficient? It's important to challenge our advanced learners to keep them engaged and keep them growing. These questions set the stage for the next topic on our data-driven PLCs, where we explore practical ways to use data to answer these questions. As mentioned in the previous slide, in a data-driven PLC, we use evidence, not assumptions, to guide our decisions. Common formative assessments help us to see what students know, where they're struggling, and where they're excelling. This shift in focus from teaching to learning. It's not about what we taught, it's about what the students learned. And as facilitators, encourage your teams to bring data to the table. Use it to spark conversations, identify trends, and plan next steps. So data isn't just about numbers, it's a story. And when we read the story together, we can write a better ending for every student. So let's take a second to dive into the role of leadership within a professional learning community. So leadership isn't about titles or positions, it's about influence. So leaders in PLCs play a crucial role in modeling collaboration, ensuring that teachers have time and resources to focus on their learning. This isn't a one-person job, it's about fostering a team environment where everyone works together towards shared goals. And one of the key shift leaders need to do is support moving from a culture of isolation to one of collaboration. This means creating spaces where teachers feel safe to share ideas, challenges, and successes. Think about how you can be a leader in your own context, influencing others and promoting a culture of collective growth. As we move forward, we'll discuss specific leadership behaviors that can drive this change. So let's take a look at the behaviors that make PLC leaders truly effective. So one way to go is to model shared values. Your actions should reflect the values you want your team to embrace. So trust, respect, and a focus on learning. And monitor for results. Keep an eye on progress, celebrate wins, address challenges with a growth mindset. Provide time and structure. Make collaboration possible by protecting time and offering clear frameworks. Supporting team norms, reinforce behaviors that make your team work well together. Listening, accountability, positivity. And use data intentionally. Help your team use data not just to evaluate, but to inspire action. These behaviors will build strong, resilient teams. So think about which ones you will focus upon for this year. Let's dive into how leadership can influence the culture of professional learning communities, or PLCs. First, consider this. Leadership is about more than just holding a position. It's about the influence you wield in fostering a collaborative culture. This influence is crucial in transforming how teams function within PLCs. Now, reflect on the role that you play. Are you someone who encourages collaboration and supports your colleagues to embrace their shared goals? Think about how you can model and promote these behaviors within your own PLCs. Now, we're going to dedicate a few moments to listening to an expert in the field. His name is Richard DeFore.
For those who question why we should have professional learning communities, I think the answer is relatively simple. There's never been greater consensus about what it's going to require of educators in order to improve student learning in all of their schools. Virtually all of the leading educational researchers in North America and all of our professional organizations have agreed that our best hope for improving schools is to focus on developing the capacity of the people within the schools. There's just been an international study done by the McKinsey Group by Sir Michael Barber where they looked at the highest performing school systems in all of the world. And they said that the one thing that those systems had in common was an understanding that a system can only be as good as the people within it. And so in those high performing systems, there was a conscious effort made to develop the capacity of those people, to understand that the only way we're going to improve the schools is by improving the quality of the instruction the students receive every single day through the collective efforts of their teachers and school leaders. So to those who would ask the question, why PLCs, I would ask, why not? What else is out there that has such universal consensus in terms of its power to make a difference in the lives of students? The biggest obstacles that are interfering with schools moving from traditional schools to professional learning communities aren't really a lack of resources or some of the other external factors that we might point to. The biggest obstacle is overcoming our own traditions and the mythology that persists in education. Mythology that says things like the way to improve schools is by hiring heroic individual teachers who close their door and make a difference in the lives of their students and are sort of indifferent to what else is going on around the school. The mythology that says the real purpose of schooling is merely to give students the opportunity to learn rather to ensure that they learn. So there are some long-standing traditions in American education that we must confront and we must overcome them if we are going to succeed in becoming professional learning communities and making a difference in the lives of our students.
So after viewing the video, take a second to think about how you fit into this and what your background and expertise brings to it. So the question would be, what do you bring to this experience? And finally, as we move forward, think about the impact of your leadership actions. How can you use that to influence and create a thriving, supportive PLC culture? So let's dive into the 7 keys to sustaining a professional learning community. These keys are essential for creating a thriving, collaborative environment that supports both the educators and the students. First one to consider is a shared mission, vision, values, and goals. Everyone on the team should know what we're working towards and why. Second one is embedded collaboration. Make teamwork part of the daily rhythm, not just on the scheduled meeting days. The third one is action orientation. Move from ideas to implementation. What are we going to do next? And focusing on results, use the data to guide decisions and celebrate growth. Job-embedded professional development. Learn while doing. Professional development should be relevant and immediate. Mutual accountability. We're in this together is the mindset we're looking for. Everyone contributes and everyone supports. And a celebration of progress. Recognize wins, big ones and small ones. It helps build momentum and morale. With these keys in mind, it'll help grow PLC stronger over time. So these keys work together to create an environment where PLCs can thrive. And as we continue, think about how these elements are present or could be enhanced in your setting. Let's take a moment to take a look at a PLC success and what it truly looks like. We can break it down to a few key indicators. The first indicator is student learning gains. This is the heart of why PLCs exist, to ensure students are learning and growing. It's important for us to continuously assess and track these gains. The next section, the next indicator, is changes in teacher practice. Collaborations within PLCs should lead to innovative strategies and methods in our teaching. This evolution is a critical measure of success of a PLC. The third indicator is looking for high-functioning teams. A successful PLC thrives on strong collaborative teams that support and challenge one another. This teamwork fosters an environment for collective growth. And the last indicator is a clear documentation of progress. This is essential. It ensures transparency and helps us track our journey and achievements over time. It's also an opportunity to celebrate our milestones and our learning from challenges. Remember, each one of these elements contributes to the overarching goal of improving student outcomes. While we're all striving for a similar goal, the experience in professional learning communities can take a lot of forms. So we can take a look at a few of them right now. Before I get into it any further, I'd like to encourage everyone to select just a single work product as your goal for year one of our implementation of professional learning communities. So here are a few of the products that your team might be interested in creating. Common formative assessment, some people call them CFAs. These are tools to measure student understanding and guide instruction. Unit plans or lesson plans. Collaborative planning ensures consistency and clarity across classrooms. Data analysis reports. Use data to identify trends, gaps, and next steps. Intervention plans. Support students who need extra help with targeted strategies. This could be our special needs students or our ELLs. Action research project. Investigate what works. Share your findings. And the sixth one is curriculum mapping. Align instruction across grades and subjects for coherence. So as you're working with your group, which one of these models makes the most sense for your group? And once again, I'd like to encourage you and your team to choose just one product to focus upon. Start small, build some momentum, celebrate your team's work, and in year 2 and subsequent years, we can add additional layers. On this slide, we're going to be taking a look at common formative assessments, or CFAs, which are all about measuring what truly matters, which is student learning. CFAs are crafted by teams with a specific goal to measure student mastery of essential standards across different classrooms. This approach promotes a sense of collective responsibility by analyzing student progress together, and in doing so, we can support each other and our students more effectively. But CFAs are not just about assessment, they are about driving timely interventions. When we understand real-time student needs, we can respond immediately with the right support. And this is crucial for understanding and answering the pivotal PLC question, which is, how will we know if students are learning? As Richard DeFore says, the most powerful strategy for improving student learning is collaborative teams working independently to impact their student achievement. This embodies the spirit of CFAs, working together to enhance student success. So this collaborative approach really promotes the feeling of a shared experience across different classrooms. Your professional learning community has the opportunity to consider the following work product, which is lesson planning and unit planning. So let's take a look at the following bullets just so we have a shared understanding. So it's created collaboratively to ensure alignment with essential standards. This is something that Lynbrook does extremely well. Also, it emphasizes clarity in learning targets, what success criteria is, and assessment strategies. Additionally, it ensures consistency in instruction while allowing teacher autonomy. So what we want to think about is, what do we want students to learn? But as we consider that, we all are familiar with educational researcher Grant Wiggins, and he talks about starting with the end in mind. First, decide what we want students to know and be able to do, then figure out how we'll know that they've learned it, and finally design a learning experience that will get them there. It's like planning a trip. You choose the destination before mapping the route. So what we want to do is ask our teams, what do we want students to learn, and how will we know that they've learned it? To answer these, we will need clear, universal learning targets, and we will measure them consistently. And a plan to gather evidence, perhaps through a portfolio or other authentic assessment. And purposeful planning leads to purposeful teaching, and that leads to better outcomes for students. Another opportunity is data analysis reports. So let's take a close look at this vital evidence-based practice. They will help us review common formative assessments, which are CFAs, and summative data to identify trends and gaps in students' learning. Our emphasis is going to be on student outcomes, and that's going to shift our focus from teaching to how students are performing. This perspective enables us to make informed decisions, such as reteaching or providing enrichment. When addressing the question of how to respond if students don't learn or do, we should keep discussions student-centered and solution-oriented, avoiding blame. This approach supports all students effectively and fosters a positive collaborative environment for data analysis. Resource available through Data Warehouse and through the College Board. So contact your department heads for more information on how to access this kind of information. Some PLC groups may select intervention plans as the focus of their work. These plans are crucial because they're designed specifically for students who need a bit more time or support. And it's important to note these interventions are not optional or left to chance. They're systematic, timely, and guaranteed. This aligns with our PLC belief that learning by all means all. And as we develop these intervention plans, the data from formative assessments play a vital role. They guide us in tailoring our approaches to meet each student's needs effectively. And it is important to consider the importance of data collection to make sure the progress is being documented. Remember, it's not just about teaching, it's ensuring that every student learns. This commitment to learning for all embodies our PLC values and drives us to continuously draft and improve our strategies. The next slide focuses on action research within a professional learning community. Now, this one's an advanced activity within a PLC community, so it may not be fully embraced by us in year one. So action research empowers teachers to lead learning, and it's structured inquiry into classroom practices driven by student data and research. And this process promotes reflection, experimentation, and improvement. Sharing findings fosters innovation and collective growth. All good stuff. And as Richard Dufour said, the best staff development is not something done to teachers, it's something done by teachers. But I want you to be conscious of the importance of conducting action research ethically. It's important to make sure no group is treated differently than the others. You could try different approaches from one unit to another unit, but it should not be one class versus another or one period versus another. All right, so everyone must benefit from the same practices. Product your PLC may consider is curriculum mapping. Lynbrook does a nice job of creating our own curriculum, and this is great. Curriculum mapping is all about ensuring coherence and clarity in our teaching approach. It aligns our instruction with essential standards, creating a seamless educational journey for our students across grade levels and courses. One of the key benefits here is identifying any gaps, redundancies, or misalignments in what we teach. This means we're not teaching in isolation, but working towards a cohesive and comprehensive curriculum. The community has made a determination about the work product you will be pursuing during this year's PLC. It's time to consider the roadmap. This slide presents the key elements of effective team roadmap planning. It highlights the importance of setting a SMART goal, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound to provide clear direction. It also focuses upon next steps for actionable tasks that move the team forward. Norms refer to agreed upon behaviors and standards that foster collaboration and accountability within the team. And finally, the schedule ensures that milestones and deadlines are clearly defined to keep the project on track. Together, these components create a structured approach to planning that enhances team alignment and productivity and will keep you moving forward. The first element of the roadmap is creating a SMART goal. SMART goals are a powerful tool for setting structured objectives to help ensure clarity, focus, and accountability, which are crucial for achieving success. On the following slides, we're going into great detail on each one of these elements, but it's important to be mindful that in order for a goal to be meaningful, it needs all of these steps. The S stands for specific, M for measurable, A is for achievable, R is for relevant, and T is for time-bound. Each one of these components is very important for a successful goal, and these elements work together to form a solid foundation for goal setting. We're going to go into each one of the details more specific for comprising a SMART goal. But by focusing on a SMART goal, you foster a sense of direction and commitment that aids significantly in realizing your objectives. A moment to dive into the S in SMART goals. Be specific. To give ourselves the best chance of success, we need to ensure our goals are clear and focused as possible. So ask yourself, what exactly do I want to accomplish? Who's in charge? Who's involved in achieving that goal? Where will it happen? These will help transform a big goal into a concrete one. For instance, I want to read more is a non-specific goal, but I will increase my reading comprehension by finishing one novel once per month is a much more understandable and specific goal. Remember, specificity lays the groundwork for a solid plan. It's the first step towards seeing your goal come to life. Now let's take a look at the other components of a SMART goal. The M in SMART, which stands for measurable. This is all about including criteria to track your progress. First of all, ask yourself some questions such as, how much or how many? These questions help ensure that you have a clear way to measure success. Also, knowing when your criteria is accomplished is important. This clarity helps in tracking, but also boosts motivation as you see tangible progress towards your goal. For example, instead of a goal of saying, I want to save some money, be specific. I will save $200 over 4 weeks by putting aside $50 weekly. Remember, making your goals measurable is a powerful step towards achieving them. So let's continue on to the next component, which is achievable. Let's focus on making sure your goal is achievable. First, consider whether you have the resources and time to reach your goal. It's important to be honest with yourself here. Next, assess whether the goal is realistic and within your reach. Setting goals that are too ambitious can lead to frustration. Instead, aim for something challenging yet attainable. For example, deciding to run 3 times a week to prepare for a 5K in 2 months is a sound goal. It's specific, manageable, allows time for progress. On the other hand, saying, I want to run a marathon next week without any training is not realistic. Remember, achievable goals set you up for success and build confidence. It's all about balancing ambition with realism. So let's move on to the next aspect, which is ensuring your goals are relevant to your overall plans and values. As we continue with the SMART goal framework, we come to R for relevant. Now, relevance is all about ensuring that your goal is aligned with your professional needs, values, and long-term plans. So ask yourself, why is this goal important to me and my instruction right now? Does it match our district bigger priorities? These are critical questions to help keep you focused on what truly matters. For example, you might decide that improving your writing skills will help you succeed in writing class or English class. That's relevant. On the other hand, learning to knit just because your friend is doing it might not align with your immediate priorities or your values. Remember, relevance ensures that your goals have personal significance or are worth your time and effort. Now we'll explore T, which is for time bound, which is about setting deadlines to maintain positive momentum. Now let's talk about the final letter in the SMART goal framework. It's T for time bound. Setting a deadline is crucial because it creates a sense of urgency and helps structure your journey towards achieving your goal. So you ask yourself, when do I plan to start and finish? What small steps can I take today or this week to get closer to my goal? These questions help you maintain momentum and focus. So here's an example of a time-bound goal. I will complete my science project by October 15th. Notice how specific and clear the deadline is. Compare that to the vague statement, I'll finish it someday, which lacks direction and urgency. Now remember, having a deadline isn't just about pressure. It's about giving yourself a clear path and motivation to see your goal through to completion. So what we're going to take a look at now is that in the next session, we're going to look at these elements, how they come together in a SMART goal template. So if you take a look at this slide, the blue box is a template you should consider. We're going to send this template out to all the facilitators to share with your groups. Box number 1 says, I will, a specific goal, by a measurable outcome, which I will achieve by actions so-and-so, and it is relevant reason to be completed by. It incorporates all of the elements of the SMART goal. It's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, it is relevant, and it also is time-bound. So a good example appears in the pink box. Example, I will improve my math grade to a B by completing all homework and studying for 30 minutes each night because passing math is required for graduation by December 15th. So on this slide, we're looking forward to how setting goals involves practical do's and don'ts. So some of the do's you want to consider would be write your goals down, be honest with your abilities, break big goals into smaller steps, and review progress regularly. These are things that we would do to keep on track. Some of the don'ts we want to keep in mind are don't be vague. Specificity is crucial. So let's take a look. Let's delve into why SMART goals are beneficial. First, they help clarify your priorities. With a clear structure, you know exactly what to focus on and avoid unnecessary distractions. Second, SMART goals increase motivation and commitment. When you have a specific target, you're more likely to be driven to achieve it, and your commitment naturally strengthens. Third, they enable progress tracking. This is crucial because it allows you to see how far you've come, which can be incredibly motivating. Fourth, improving time management. By having a clear timeline, you can allocate your time wisely, ensuring you stay on track. And finally, SMART goals enhance the success rate by reaching your objectives. By being specific and measurable, you set yourself up for success. Remember, the aim here is to make achievable goals not just a possibility, but a probability. On this slide, we're going to be taking a look at the importance of documenting the great work you and your learning community are going to be doing. So let's explore the tools for measuring the health of a professional learning community to ensure effective functioning and goal achievement. So these tools include norms, logs, agendas, and minutes, tracking discussions and decisions for accountability and transparency. Team assessments encourage honest reflection and feedback to identify strengths and areas of improvement. SMART goals, which we spent some time talking about, the specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals linked to student data to track progress. And rubrics for evaluating the PLC culture, gain insight into team collaboration and support dynamics. Now, rubrics will be something we'll probably be dealing with in the future as our program becomes more mature. But these tools will help promote the success of your PLC, and we strongly encourage you to consider implementing them in your PLC work. So we've discussed many things leading into this year's Professional Learning Community Project. Please do yourself a favor and select 1 or 2 things to monitor this year. As leaders, action planning is crucial for driving progress and improvement. So let's focus on 3 of the key steps. First, choose 1 or 2 specific metrics to monitor this year. Selecting the right metric is important because it helps you focus on what's most important and to track your progress effectively. The second thing to consider is plan how to use data from these metrics to guide your leadership decisions. This data-driven approach will help you to make sure that you have informed decisions that can positively impact your team and the broader organization. And the third thing, finally, collaboration is key. Work together with your team to foster an environment of trust and transparency. By engaging your team in open dialogue, you strengthen relationships and enhance your collective efforts. Remember, these steps are about building a strategy that supports both your leadership and your team's success. All right. As you begin this journey, please understand you are not going forward alone or blindly. There's a rich collection of resources that support you. This slide contains some resources focused upon professional learning communities. We will send this information to you in a document format with active hyperlinks for the resources. Additionally, as SMART goals will be an important part of your PLC's journey, we're including a slide with additional resources to support your community's implementation. This information is going to be shared with all the facilitators to give you some additional support. We are very encouraged about the professional development direction Lynbrook is embarking upon at the secondary level. Professional learning communities are an exciting initiative, and we know the professional growth that will take place will be remarkable. Your leadership in facilitating your PLC is greatly appreciated, and we're convinced that you are the right person for this role. Thank you for your time and for your commitment. We look forward to working with you.